Brothers and sisters in New York City. Hi, welcome. My fellow Liberians, I want to say good morning, good afternoon to my Liberians in the diaspora, to my Liberians in the motherland in West Africa. Again, I'm here to give encouraging words. As you know, I shoulder the responsibility of the young generation of Liberia. So as we build a new system in Liberia where Liberians, our children, our mothers, our fathers will all fit in, leaders of Liberia are asked for us to be very cautious. I want to let you know the world is watching us. And that's what I passed by to remind us this morning, this afternoon, wherever you're receiving this information. We must all hold together and encourage transparency, accountability, and transformation. Leaders of National Election Commissions, I want to first give you many thanks and appreciation for your hard work trying to conduct a free and fair election. As a Liberian born and raised in the soil in West Africa, a man who fought all through coming back to West Africa to make sure our young generation, our children, they are okay. A man who fear no one but to say the truth. I want to tell leaders of Liberia, for us to understand that we need to build a system. And we need to build a system now. And the reason why it is so essential that we build a system in Mama Liberia is for the world to have trust in us. For investors to have trust in us. It is important that we exercise our democracies in the rightful way. We went through a long journey. We went through 14 years plus civil war in Liberia. I strongly believe we learned a lot. And that's why it is important that we exercise good governance and show the world that we are a democratic country in West Africa. Liberians, we now live in a new age. We cannot continue to go behind door to change things around. I want to encourage us on this network for us to remain transparent, to build a system for our children, for our unborn children, to live in a very vibrant society where each and every one can have equal rights to exercise themselves. My fellow Liberians, Liberia is a country of my origin. And that's why when we preach politics, I want to be very mindful in terms of how I address the nation of Liberia. And we also got to take into consideration, because at the end of the day, this is our country of origin, no matter where you live on the globe. I want to take this time to extend my many thanks and appreciation to other Liberians in diaspora around the world. We'll try one way or the other to contribute towards our great society. But I also want to bring to leader attention in West Africa, Liberia, that we need a system of fairness. We need to lay foundation in Liberia that our children and our unborn children will come and meet such a wonderful system put in place. System of good education. System of good health facility in Liberia. System of good development in the country that will encourage investors to come in the country to invest sufficiently. That will encourage investors to come and fuel our economies in West Africa. So, my fellow Liberians, we have gone through a lot, and we must learn from our mistakes that went on in the past. I pass by to let you know I should conduct this wonderful and unique election. Let it be the new beginning in Liberia. A new beginning in the sense that people will sit around the world and they will say to themselves, Liberians are ready. You know, we cannot continue living in a country where there is no law and order. We cannot continue to live in the country where no one trusts no one. We got to build the system now. And how do we build a system? It's from this sanitary election that just went on. My fellow Liberians, I caution you to be very transparent. A transparency, accountability, transformation should be at the top of your list. Whether it's an Italian sheet, whether it's the result that is going to be given for this election, let us stand firm and be transparent. Transparency will bring peace into the country. Transparency will give our children a chance to have an equal opportunity in the country. And that's why, my fellow Liberians, as I sit behind the scene and envision a new Liberia, we cannot have a new Liberia if we all don't come together collectively to build a system in Liberia. Again, I want to say thank you so much for all the young generation, your efforts. I want to thank you so much for speaking out your mind through your votes. We do not want to encourage violence into the country. I want to thank you so much for... And that's why it is important that we continue to speak to our young generation that violence in West Africa, specifically the country of my origin, should not be encouraged in the country. But exercising your democratic right should be encouraged in the country. And that's the Liberia we want to see. We want to see a Liberia where our young folks, our mothers, our fathers can come on the street to celebrate without being intimidated. That's the Liberia we want to see. As the young generation leader, we will continue to fight for the young generation of Liberia. We will continue to send message out in all angles of all great words to understand that we mean business. Our mothers, our fathers, our children, our young girls, our young boys, they went through a lot in the country of Liberia. And that's why we want to make sure that the international world pay attention, pay close attention for Liberia to have a transparency leadership. We, the young generation, we're going to speak out, and we're going to continue to speak out our minds of how we feel. We have done our research, we've done our history, and we know exactly what's going on those years, those 200 years. We got to correct the errors. You know, it makes no sense to me for continual leadership to come in power and sometimes they use the country resources on the children, on the youth of Liberia, and they have program in their mind that they are doing great for the young generation. That is not how it's supposed to be. I want to allow the young generation to understand that when leaders come to use resources on you, it is not money from them. It is your taxpayer money, and they supposed to use those resources for you as a young generation to benefit from it. We are not here to play a game. We tired playing game in Liberia. And that's why we will continue to speak for our leaders and our young leaders that are coming up to open their eyes to understand how those so-called politicians work. We will not tolerate leaders who empower to continue to oppress our people in Liberia, West Africa. And that's why we will continue to educate and uplift our young generation to encourage them that there is a hope somewhere. As the election go on, a caution election commission not to go behind the scene to change any number. It will lead to the undermining of our democracy in West Africa, specifically the country of my origin, Liberia. That's why we must be very, very cautious and open our eyes as a young generation to make sure we are treated fairly. As a young generation leader in Liberia, I will continue to advocate for you because you show me something that you mean business. I can see you jubilating. You getting to understand what is right and what is wrong. Oh, when I sat in the background, I heard young leaders jubilating and rejoicing that we don't want money, but we want true leadership. I must sit on the media to commend you for all your great words. And that's how it's supposed to be in Liberia. Because we are opening our young generation eyes to understand that when a so-called politician comes to you to preach lies to you, do not buy that. They're trying to buy your right to suppress you in Liberia. And that's the barriers we want to get rid of in Liberia. We cannot have so-called politicians coming to give up peanuts and only to found themselves in leadership. When they come, they turn their back on our brothers and sisters in Liberia. And that's why it is important that we go on the media to educate and uplift our young leaders, our boys and girls who have been deprived from their education so many years ago. Liberians must also understand that we have gone through a lot on that continent. Do you know what it means to have a 14-year civil war where mothers, fathers been dead in the country? And that's why it is important that our young folks' eyes be open to vote right. Yes, we will continue to give the message to our people. We must exercise what we call transparency, accountability, and transformation for our young folks in Liberia. I want to give God thanks for the great life He gave to some of us. I want to give God thanks for the continued blessing that He gave to some of us. To speak for our young generation at all times, from all angles. Young folks, thank you so much. I don't care who win in Liberia. My main concern, I strongly believe that the young folks are getting the message that it is no longer time to say, you know what, you killed my mom, you killed my pa, I'm going to vote for you. I love what I'm hearing. I don't want money. I will vote for the great leadership. And that touched my heart. It makes us feel that as we continue to advocate for the young generation, we are seeing results. And that's how it's supposed to be. We must force transparency to be in the country of Liberia. We got to build a system, not a system of corruption. Many years when I grew up in Liberia as a child, I saw nothing but lies and corruption. I went through the suppression in Liberia, and I can tell you, those are not the systems that we want to put in place for our children. We want to use the resources of Mama Liberia on everyone. Liberia for all. It is not for one person. We got to erase that concept of I get into leadership, I must build myself up and forget the rest. That is not a good leadership. And that's why we're trying to change in the society. And we're going to fight to change and get rid of all the barriers in the country. We want people that will do the job. We want people that will come into the senatorial position, representative, to represent the citizens of Liberia. Not people that will come and take the resources of the country and use it on our children, our mothers, and our fathers, making them believe that they are doing good things for them, just to continue to corrupt in the society. And those are ills in the society we're going to continue to expose. We will not relent. We will change those barriers that continue to go on in Liberia for so many years and put them back on track. This morning it's my honor to speak to my young generation. I admire you. I want to commend you for celebrating the street and specifically saying, we don't want money. We want a great leadership. It's time for Liberia to get back on the foot. You know what it means? 14 years civil war fought in the country. Look at the gap. 14 years of civil war fought in the country. So those children did not go to school. So there is a gap. There's an educational gap in between 14 years. Do the math. So what I think we should be doing as Liberians now, we should be trying to rehabilitate those children that we call Zogos on the street. We should be mainly focused on trying to see how we can transform their lives. Not busy fighting one another with political rhetorics that make no sense to some of us. We want to fight for power, to go in a position where we go, and then we do nothing but lie to our people and then try to corrupt them, take their resources and put it in our pocket and continue to suppress and oppress our people. That's not the kind of Liberia we want. We want a Liberia where our young brothers and sisters will go to school. They will have chance to go to school. That we can write a policy that each and everyone across the country of Liberia should be in school. Schooling should be the top priority in Liberia. Then over the next 5-10 years, I can guarantee you, we're going to make a progress. But we cannot continue being in the country and doing nothing. And then we call ourselves leaders in the country, you know, when we get sick and we're trying to make arrangements to come overseas to take treatment. Does that make sense to you? For me, it don't make no sense to me. I think it leads to stupidity. And that's a concept we want to change in Liberia. Leaders must understand now we got to build a system in the country where we can have good health facilities, where we can have good structural education for our children. The children are growing up over the years. What do you think? They are looking at us as leaders. They're trying to take our example. So if we continue to corrupt, of course, when they come into power, they're going to do the same. And that's what went on for all those years. And those are the barriers we want to change in Liberia. And that's why we sacrifice ourselves to make sure that our children, our young folks get the education they need so they can proceed with themselves to better themselves. My fellow Liberians, thank you for exercising your right. As we wait for results to come in, my young generation, I want you to be very peaceful. We behind the scene want to make sure we're watching everything that goes on in Liberia because we want Liberia to be a better nation. And that's why we are urging you to go for peace. Be peaceful. We have seen the preliminary results already. So nothing going to change. We're going to remain transparency as a country. We're going to make sure that our people be satisfied with the results. Not going behind door to change number or putting a bunch of numbers to change things around because we want to accomplish our own selfish interest. That's not what we're going for. We are watching transparency in West Africa, specifically the country of my origin. That's my country of origin. And because I was born and raised in that country as an educator in a great world, I will make sure to continue to educate the young generation to understand exactly what's going on in society. I grew up under suppression, and I don't want to see my young generation growing up in such an atmosphere. As I leave this media, young generation, I want to give you many thanks and appreciation to keep your focus, to know exactly what you want. And do not be afraid to question politicians, what they're going to do for you and how they're going to do it. It is your right to demand answers before you elect them into office. And these are the education we want to give our young folks. Freedom should be in Liberia for our people. There's no reason why our people to go on the street to express themselves, and you see police coming trying to go after them. I listened to the police director. I must commend you for your statement. Which express how happy they are. As long there is no violence, as long there is no disasters, police do not have right to come after them. And that's the kind of Liberia we want. I want to give many thanks to other Liberians who are trying to make sure that the country be well protected. Because Liberia is our country of origin. No matter what situation in the world, we will continue to speak for the nation because we strongly believe that Liberia can do better. It is just few handful of corrupt minds who were raised, up in the society under the influence of corruption. So we understand that these things pollute the society. So we go in government, position, and we get taxpayer money, and we corrupt that, and then we build schools, we build things for ourselves, and then we claim that it is for us. It's our hard-earned money. That's lies. We know these lies. We know those tricks already. We passed that. We are the young generation going to make sure that our children, our young folks' eyes are open to make sure that transparency be a key at the end of the day in Liberia. Again, thank you so much, my fellow Liberians, for exercising your right. And that's how it's supposed to be. We come, we exercise our vote. If we don't need someone doing the wrong thing, it is our right to come out to make sure that we stop the wrongdoing and continue doing right in the country. Again, my fellow Liberians, thank you so much for the election. We're watching. We are seeing everything. We know the tally sheet. There is no way that people will go and change numbers around. Our eyes are open, and that's why we live in a social media age. Do not be afraid to use the social media because this is the age. This is our world. We want to make sure that we are treated fair across the nation of Liberia. So we are here, we behind you 100%. Our young folks, you got to continue to speak out for your right. You got to continue to give the right votes to where it's supposed to be. With that said, I thank you so much. As I step and leave the pulpit of this social media, I want to say, my nation, Liberia, we love you. We love our young generation. We love our mothers and fathers. And we just want to say thank you so much for listening to some of us, implementing what's supposed to be implemented in Liberia. And again, we will go after anyone that go after the citizens of Liberia to make sure that they are doing the right thing. Leaders is there to serve the people, not to oppress our people. Again, I repeat, leaders are there in various position to serve your people and serve your people with transparency, accountability, and transformation lead to a successful country. And I hope you get a message. Thank you so much, and I want to say have a good day, and we await the election results to be very transparent. And a bush shake, bush will hold rope. Thank you so much. As I close up, I want to say thank you to my young generation. We are here for you 100%. Thank you.